ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans of all ages, in every corner, the top rope, bottom rope, or underneath the ring. Welcome to the Monday Night Raw edition of the No Shave Man Cave. I'm Ellie Jair.
Jay Tilly.
Welcome, and I am so excited to talk about this crowd coming to you out of Ottawa. Just a really, really good crowd, and they were loving Sami Zayn. What'd you think, man?
Yeah, I'll agree. The crowd was hot. Definitely want to dive into it because I think we have two different opinions on the show in general. You already talked about the Sami Zayn part, so we can roll right into that. And
Yeah, man.
if you want to kind of recap what he did, and then I'll give you my opinion on it. But yeah, I'd be curious to go through
Absolutely.
this card with you for sure.
Yeah, so absolutely. As I referred to this as I referred to this episode of Monday Night Raw, this is a story that needs to be told because we need to move on from Sami Zayn and I'm doing air quotes versus Roman Reigns because now it's Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline, and he now has realized he wants to take down the Bloodline, and he can't do it alone. And what is he going to do? There in his home country, he comes out, and the crowd is loving him. And 6 minutes, he couldn't say a word. He goes, he puts the microphone a couple inches from his face, and they start all over again. And then he puts the mic down, brings it back up 2 more minutes. So now we're 9.5 minutes in. You deserve it. You deserve it. And finally, he's able to say, wow, wow, guys, I'm feeling a lot of feelings here. And I instantly knew that there was going to be a slow burn for what was about to occur, and I was loving every freaking second of it. And he called out Kevin Owens, and when his music hit, it wasn't nearly as loud as Sammy's, but it was pretty damn close to where it's no longer Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It's now Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They're
Yeah.
one and one A. It's no longer, you know, one trying to live up to the other. So I really enjoyed, really enjoyed the exchange and the energy that the two of them had in the ring.
Yeah, I agree, and I thought there were some pretty good lines in the promos themselves. I appreciated KO. I appreciated the callback with
Yep.
KO saying, "No, I meant it when I said in Survivor Series, you're on your own." You know, with Sammy asking, "Hey, let's take down the Bloodline together," and KO's going, "No." Um, I also really like the aspect of some of the feedback coming out of Elimination Chamber was, why did KO take so long to come out and help Sammy? Why did he take so long?
Mm.
Well, he took so long because he wasn't there to help Sammy, and I love that they explained that he came out to prevent Sammy's family from seeing him get beat down like he got beat down at Royal
Yep.
Rumble. Oh, that was gorgeous, beautiful touch, and calling him out and saying the fact that you just stood there while I got beat up in front of my family. I wasn't going to let that happen to you, and I didn't come out here for you. I came out here for them, and I was like, that's great because everybody just kind of assumed going into Raw they're going to hug, make up, kiss. You know, we're good friends, love you, mwah, mwah,
Yep.
let's go kick the Bloodline's ass. And I
Yeah.
like the fact that they didn't. So it was like another wrinkle laid in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I thought that was like expert storytelling that kind of like what we talked about before, or more you talked about, was that the WWE races through 3 episodes of Raw, the feud, the start, the build, the finish, boom. Whereas now we can sort of get this slow burn. Sami Zayn has to build up confidence in Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is going to build some confidence in Sami that he's not doing this for the wrong reason.
yep,
And the whole thing that still hasn't been figured out, where's Jay in all of this? He took the
yeah,
spear.
yeah,
Or is he like, oh yeah, hey, that's friendly fire, it's cool? Or is he like, yo, dog, we were down and I treated you like family and you speared me, but we don't know where he is, on where if he's on the fence or not. So that'll be some fun coming
yeah.
forward.
Even Kevin Owen made a point to say that. if you need help taking down the bloodline, get your buddy Jay. And I was like, oh. So yeah, it's the storyline is going to be really good coming out of this, because we've got all of March to build up to WrestleMania, so you can absolutely build Sammy getting his butt kicked over and over again, and maybe KO getting his butt kicked on this side, and slowly push them together, and build that. Okay, we've got to take them out. We're going to have to work together, rolling into WrestleMania to hopefully take the tag titles.
So you look, is there going to be a catalyst that says, all right, you guys need to get together? Is it going to be Pierce? Is it going to be, I'm trying to think of someone else. I can't really think of anyone who will stand up against Roman Reigns, unless it's Cody, who will say, hey, why don't you guys, do it together? They've got one more episode in Canada, so that'll be interesting to see how that comes. I think they have penciled in Solo Sikoa against Sammy, so that I think that'll be a fun match, and to see where parties lie, with that'll close out February into March, give you one full month to really, really build what's going to happen on the 1st and 2nd of April in SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, you brought up the Cody thing. That's a really good possibility, because now you could have the Bloodline attacking Cody and beating Cody down, and Sammy comes out to make the save. Well, they're still outnumbered. Next show, they're beating down Sammy, Cody comes out, or KO comes. They start playing with the three of them, and then they just build this bond of the three of them, and roll into WrestleMania. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll go that route or if they're just going to try to keep it Roman versus Cody. However, when has it ever been Roman versus somebody without the bloodline involved?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's and we'll get into the promo here in a little bit, but that was it's never just Roman, sort of what was alluded to in the promo. So so the promo goes, and Sammy's like, "Hey, I'm having a lot of feelings here." KO comes out, says, "Hey, I didn't want you to get your head caved in like I almost did," and that was that. They get done. Drops the mic. He walks back, and Corey Graves is he's given us his theories. Corbin comes out. He's like, "Hey, you interrupted me, and everything that you were talking about was so important, but I'm the last guy that beat Roman Reigns." He throws Sammy around. Out come the officials, and there is Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is like he did last week when he got challenged by Becky. I challenge you to make a match. And this was Becky challenging Adam Pearce at this point. And Adam Pearce just points to the ring. Sammy's like, "Oh, you want me to go to the ring?" Well, I mean, that's what we do here at World Wrestling Entertainment. Yep. We wrestle entertainmentally. So he comes running down. They go through a decent match. Sammy really wearing those battle scars from Saturday, and I thought everything would kind of calm down, like it was just a slap and it would calm down. I mean, he was worse for wear, and the scrape down the middle, I'm not really sure where that came from, and then you could see the bruises where he took a couple of chair shots to his back.
The beatdown going into the break and through the picture-in-picture was pretty good. They did a good job, and Sammy sells really well, so he sold that really, really well. And then the match itself was decent, and like you said, when Sammy took his shirt off, you're like, oh, yeah, he was in a war for sure, in a war on Saturday. Yeah, and I think the scrape came from when he tried to dive through the ropes and Roman caught him with a punch or something. I remember when we watched the Elimination Chamber, that's when I was like, ooh, he didn't quite make it through those ropes.
Got hung up a little bit, Sammy.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's where I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that came from. Match was good. I'm glad it wasn't a squash to Baron Corbin like it was last week against Cody. So I appreciated the fact that they gave him some time to work. Sammy sold the back injury, the back being in pain, but still ended up getting the win, which was good. I think it was the right call to give him the win.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's on the right side of the ledger, gets the W. Baron Corbin is building towards something. Um, Not sure what you're going to build him to going in. It's going to be, does someone else get aligned with JBL, or does he try and prove himself against, I don't know, Madcap Moss or something? So, but yeah, good piece of business. It was nice to see Sammy get some of that offense, and he fought from underneath for a little bit. Got hit with that the deep nine, deep six.
Yep.
Very, very protected finish. And again, Baron was able to cut some promos and talk about how he was the last guy to beat Roman. And I thought that was interesting. Maybe Baron is the guy that feuds with Roman after whatever happens with Cody, because he'll be away from the title and he's going to have to build himself back up um, with the bloodline or whatever. I'm not really sure how to pencil that
Yeah,
or
it's
connect all those
definitely
files.
interesting that they've dropped that hint in there.
Yeah.
You know, he said it 2 weeks in a row now, so I'm curious if they're gonna maybe just have a match between now and WrestleMania, and it's gonna be a squash, and Roman's just gonna like destroy him in 30 seconds to prove that he's come a
Mm.
long way since then. But it's definitely they're definitely sprinkling in the seeds for you for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point because they have a show in Kansas City before WrestleMania, so they're doing a lot of stuff in the Midwest. They're in Illinois, Minnesota, Kansas City. NXT is up and down in Florida, all over Florida. They're actually in Jacksonville on Friday night, and they've got another show. It's not in LA, but it's closer to the West Coast. So if Corbin being from Kansas City, that might be an interesting place for him to maybe talk some smack. And Roman comes out and says, "Acknowledge me." But during the promo that we'll get to in a little bit, one of the members of the promo mentioned Peoria, and I don't know why he said Peoria twice.
Yeah.
And when you look where um, WWE is, they're in Peoria between now and WrestleMania, and I was like,
Oh, interesting.
interesting. So I just thought that was kind of funny, maybe ironic, or just the the script just aligned with
Right.
what they were talking about. So yeah, I thought it was a good piece of business. I thought the verbals, and again, I just lose it because Sammy being a masked wrestler for so long, and I think about this because of like the Mil Mascarases and the Rey Mysterios and the famous luchadors. They don't have to worry about the facials, but then you look at some of the wrestlers that have in the past wrestled in a mask, and they have such amazing facials. And Sammy, I mean, he sold like $1 million tonight,
Yeah.
and just like he did on Saturday. So that was really cool to see. So a couple of commercials. They showed the Man and Rollins commercial again, which I just thought was awesome. Rollins, for those who didn't see it originally, definitely try and go on Google Seth Rollins and the Man Batman commercial, or Seth Rollins Goes Hollywood, because he's the Joker and Becky Lynch is Batman, in the line where he goes, "Oh, I didn't know we had a Bat Cave," and she's like, "You don't. I'm the man." And I was just like, "That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm in on this new character." So, but yeah. So then, So we finish that. Cut to a commercial. Come back, and you see that there's an interview getting ready to kick off with Mommy and Slimeball,
Mm.
XCOM Dom. They come in. They're miking her up. She's looking uh, all snarky, and they're talking. Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick are talking about the Edge and Austin Theory showdown, and while Rhea's getting mic'd up, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They're talking about Edge while the um, Judgment Day are getting mic'd up,
Yeah.
where here's Edge, the exiled member of Judgment Day. So they go to break, they come back, and now Rhea and Dom are in there with Byron Saxton, and they're talking about what happened in the Elimination Chamber, how everything went down, and and Dom keeps like piping in like he actually served hardcore time, and it
Yeah.
looks like now, like if you look, it looks like he's got a teardrop now.
Yeah,
And
he's got that fake teardrop tattoo he's had since he got out. Yeah, I love
and
that.
yeah, and he's gotten some more ink, and now he's got a almost like a skull or a bat or something on his hand. So
I noticed
uh,
that too. Yeah, he's
yeah,
definitely getting more tatted up. Whether they're fake or real, I don't know.
yeah,
But it's much
yeah,
better than that one crappy one he had. So I saw that too. I'm like, oh, I kind of like his
yeah,
stats now.
yeah. He's I think he's gotten a couple of cover ups. So um, yeah, so they talk about how she Rhea is going to face Charlotte, and Charlotte is going to put her in her place. And this whole time, like you're thinking, like, okay, she's going to get put in her place. So Charlotte is going to slap around and, uh, make her submissive somehow when that's not Rhea's game.
Yeah,
And Rhea's response is, yeah, if she wants to put me in my place, that's fine. She can put me in my place because that's on top of the women's division. And I
yeah,
was
it was a
just
good
like,
line.
I totally did not see that coming. So kudos to whether it was Rhea or someone in creative. I'd be interested to see who helped produce that spot. But it was really strong, great promo. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
It did what it needed to do, and yeah, it was a good line. I did
yeah,
appreciate the fact though when she wanted to talk about Beth, or Byron wanted to talk about Beth, and she's like, I don't want to talk about Beth. And I think they're setting up for Beth Phoenix, Rhea Ripley coming out of Mania. Maybe Beth challenges her first challenger for the title. But I appreciate that he brought that up, and then I like how he asked again, and Dom's like, "Don't ask that question again." You know what I used to do to people in the slammer when they asked too many questions?
yeah. I'll show you what I did to people when they talk too much, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was funny.
Yep.
So then again, so the interview ends, and again they talk to the U.S. champion, and he mentions crappy Canada, and you hear the chorus of boos, and he the Austin Theory talks about how he's the forever champion, and he's gonna forever be the headliner. And I'm like, man, this guy really almost believes what he's saying,
Yep.
and I guess if you say it enough, you almost start believing it. So
We are the number one podcast in the world. We're the number one. I don't know if it's
number
going to
one
work. We'll keep saying it.
number one podcast, and I'm rubbing my temples while I'm saying
Yeah.
it. Woosah. Oh, I need to do my yoga poses while I'm doing it. So so then we go into the Dolph Ziggler Mustafa Ali. I like the Dolph Ziggler character, even though the gum smacking thing kind of annoys me because that just reminds me of the Jericho Appreciation Society and trying to figure out this whole Mustafa Ali. Oh, am I supposed to smile more? So then they cut to a couple weeks ago when Ziggler's like, "You just don't get it, man. You just don't get it."
Yeah.
So they go through. Ziggler looks great, and his gear is pink as pink could be. Sort of I don't know if it's a homage to the Heart Foundation. Them being in Canada. Out comes Mustafa Ali. They have a quick match.
1
Not
minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't think it was necessarily a squash match as much as it was a surprise Ali won, and that's an easy way to get him on the WrestleMania card, because now Ziggler is going to want to get revenge going to WrestleMania. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how I saw that unfold.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say about this. I did catch that as Mustafa Ali was leaving, though, he was celebrating like it was the biggest win he's ever had. Kind of that over the top baby face to the point where you're like, dude, you're kind of being an asshole. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering if they're going to start slowly turning him heel.
Hmm.
But I hope they do something. He's fantastic in the ring,
Yeah,
and I hate that he asked for his release. They told him no, then they put him on the shelf for so long, and now he's
yeah,
back. Which I think were some of the inside jokes about. You hear like Athena when she left, she said some of the feedback she always got was smile more and stuff like that. So I think there were some inside jokes on that whole thing,
yeah.
which is cool that they're doing that now. But yeah, I hope he gets something. I'm not feeling this character. I'm not feeling where he's going. Maybe heel turns what he needs to do.
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
it
really
was.
want to see him and Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania. I don't think. Maybe
Yeah,
pre-show, but not main card.
yeah. I just don't know. Like, how are you going to fill 2 days of WrestleMania? 8 hours of wrestling, and granted, you gave him a minute of time, but Ziggler, he's what, a three-time champion. He's
Yeah.
held every title in the WWE. So he went down to NXT for a little while, carried that title, had a decent piece of business with Braun, and he's on the main roster. If you're just going to have him flounder, maybe call Robert Roode up, get the dogs back together or something. I don't know
Well,
what they
I was going to
do.
ask where has Robert Roode been? I know he came back for a little bit. Now he's gone again. Did he
Yeah,
get
yeah,
re-injured or?
yeah. He got injured, had to have surgery. He's rehabbing. I think he's in uh, Georgia or
Okay.
Alabama or something. So he's still recovering. Hopefully, he'll be back in the next 4 or 5 months. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, he had.
Like I said, I thought I saw him come back and then he was out again. So I didn't know if he got what happened with that.
Yeah, yeah, he got injured. So that match gets done, cuts back from a commercial, shows Miz and Maurice, and Kathy Kelly is back there trying to get an interview, and Maurice turns away. So Kathy swoops in. Hey, Miz, I wanted to talk to you. Miz is like,
Hmm.
and Maurice is turning, and he wanted to see her coming toward him because he loves her, obviously, because that's his wife,
Hmm.
and all of her glory.
Yeah. It was a nice dress she was wearing.
Yeah, she's, yeah, very much so. And so she hands him a gold envelope, and he alludes to his game winning hoop during the NBA All Star game, and Kathy Kelly quickly says, "Well, it didn't count." She's
Yeah.
like, "Excuse me, this is between my wife and I. This has nothing to do with you." So I thought that was good. They kind of went back and forth, talked a little bit about what do you think is how everything's going, and how, you have a match tonight with Seth Rollins. Well, if you want to be specific, it's technically me who cost Seth freaking Rollins the United States title, because my protege Logan Paul. And so I thought that was kind of fun how they
Yep.
tied everything with a nice, neat little bow. And they talked about how he was going to have a match, and he's going to do what he needs to do because he's the Miz and he's awesome. But he never let off. He never let out what was going on in that envelope. So next Monday, you got to tune in and see what's going on with that gold envelope.
Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. So
They didn't make it anything. I just was like, I don't care what's in them. What I do care about, and I hope they're not going this direction, is I do not want to see a triple threat with Rollins, Logan Paul, and The Miz at WrestleMania.
mm,
I don't want to see that. I want to just see Rollins and Logan Paul. I don't think they need to add The Miz to that mix, and I'm worried just some of that banter is what they might lean to.
I
I may be wrong, but
see. I see why you think that. Yeah, because now the Miz wants to be proud of what he created.
I mean, otherwise,
Yeah,
what's the Miz's program now? It could be this gold envelope is going to be a contract for a match of whoever he wants, his Iron Man match, let's say. I don't know, but
yeah,
I just
mm,
yeah, I don't what they're going to put the Miz on WrestleMania, obviously.
yeah,
Now we do know WrestleMania is a ways off, so they absolutely could build a program with him going forward, and with WrestleMania being a ways off. There's another interview that goes on later that, oh my god, I hope gets handled before WrestleMania. But
yeah.
um, yeah, I just some of the things they said in the protege, and
Mm.
I took him on once and he beat me, but I haven't had my rematch. Like I could see them trying to build that as a triple threat, and I don't want to see that. I just want to see Rollins and Logan Paul because I think that has
Yeah.
the potential to be match of the night.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't. I mean, obviously getting the Miz on the card. I mean, he's one of only a couple double um, Grand Slam champions on both shows. But
Yep.
I don't. Yeah, I don't see how it makes sense unless someone comes from the NXT up to them. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see what happens with the gold envelope. So as they cut out, they're already backstage. Now the camera is panning, and you see Cody Rhodes. And time to get a little more personal with Cody Rhodes. He makes his way. Um, and Corey Graves and Kevin Kelly are talking about the challenges that he's going to face and everything he's going to go through. And they cut to a commercial break. They come back, and again, they mention where they're at. They're in the Tire Center, Canadian Tire Center, and Cody Rhodes comes out, and he's just feeling it. So we're we're barely past COVID, right? And COVID is a flu-like virus that led everybody to wearing masks. Well, we're sort of past it. Not everybody's wearing masks. If you don't want to, you don't wear one. Some people do, whatever. So he goes through, and there's 14,000 something people in the center. He's walking down. He's touching everybody's hands, right? What does he do when he gets into the ring before he grabs the mic? He kisses his hands and like swing, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is gonna get sick and not make it to WrestleMania. And I was like, oh. And this is when I was like, I am focusing absolutely on the wrong thing.
For real.
And so I had to like pause, get up, walk around, because now I'm like, okay, we need to focus on what he's going to talk about, what he's going to say, and how is he going to say it. Because if he gets all teary eyed and choked up like Cody normally does, he's there's that little bit of like how you're like if you're wearing a suit of armor, oh, there's a little chink in your armor. This is a little bit of your weakness, and you want Cody to be strong. So Cody gets the microphone, he gets ready to talk. Bam! On comes Heyman. He's got the neck brace. He's all mic'd up. He looks worse for wear because his neck hurts, and he's not very fond of the Canadian medical system. And he goes on to tell Cody, you know, if you come on you make it to WrestleMania, you challenge Roman Reigns, and if you do, not saying you will, but if you do win the world titles and the Universal title, here's what's going to go on. And he goes on to break down the days on the road and this and that and the other, and says, he surmises with 305 days on the road, basically promoting the brand of WWE. Is that the sacrifice you want to take for your family? Oh, I know you think I'm going to say something vile about Roman Reigns keeping your wife warm at night. Roman Reigns is a happily married man, and then he gets all close and says, "But I'm not." And you're like, "Come on, man." So
Like Brandy would even.
yeah. So, Brandy is 1 year removed from having a baby. For everything that we know, they are happily married. And aesthetically, um, I would venture to say that Brandy and Cody belong together. and Mr. Heyman along nowhere near Brandy Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
also like that he threw the comment in there about Dustin and telling the story about his dad being on the road all the time.
yeah.
Because they mentioned Dustin on WWE, which is a good sign. So maybe
Mhm.
they are working to get him in there to be able to be part of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. And, what would be really cool is if they were to get Dustin to WrestleMania and Dustin is on an episode of Broken Skull Sessions telling his story,
Oh
and
yeah, that would be really good.
maybe even to the extent where Dustin tells stories about Dusty, which Steve is uber fond of. They're both Texas guys
Yep.
and traveling the road, and how they cut their teeth and what he'd been up to since shattered dreams of gold dust, and so that would be that I think that would be a lot of fun. So that'd be a good show. So cut
Yeah.
to commercial. We roll into Asuka versus Nikki
Wait,
Cross.
you skipped Cody's response to Mr. Heyman.
Oh
So
yeah. Yep.
yeah. So Cody gets really angry and did a really good "I'm really angry" thing, and
Yeah.
I loved the Roman. We're gonna come face to face eventually. Stop sending this guy. Stop being you. We're gonna meet face to face very soon. I thought that was very good. Cut and dry
Yep.
to the point. Talk to him about how he's a great champion, but he's gonna beat him. So yeah.
I've got to finish the story.
Yeah. Yep. I've got to finish the story.
Man, I'm super super excited for WrestleMania. Um, a WrestleMania ticket sells itself on being WrestleMania, whether you buy a ticket for night one, night two, or both. And certainly, if you have a Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, that will be phenomenal. And hopefully, they don't do the Hall of Fame like they did with Taker
Right.
as part of Friday Night SmackDown or whatever. Hope that's something separate. So,
So
they
just a
haven't.
reminder to our fans, buy me coffee. Look up the No Shave Man Cave. You can donate, and we're going to use that for our WrestleMania ticket.
Yes, sir. Yeah, buymecoffee.com. Take a look. No Shave Man Cave, wherever you pick up your podcasts and or social media, Twitter, Instagram, our YouTube. It's all No Shave Man Cave. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, definitely subscribe to us, and like we're always talking about, if you have some feedback, I messaged a couple of podcasts that I've listened to. They hang on a certain word, and they'll say it over and over and over again, and that's like their safety blanket almost. And we JT and I, we talk at work, and yeah, you smacked a little bit. You said you kept uh, clapping or making some kind of noise. Sit on your hands, do something. So if there's something that you want to see or hear, you want us to change up, definitely we're here to get better, and that's what we're trying to do every single episode. And that's what I think the WWE has been doing every episode since old Papa H has taken over too.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hey, we're gonna keep it moving. On
Yeah, I've
so
got some thoughts, but I want to
yeah,
get to the next match, and
yeah,
then I'll try to prove my point.
yep. So we get to Asuka and Cross, nice piece of business, and the match in and of itself gets ready to start. Out comes Bianca Belair, who looked like $1,000,000,
Oh yeah,
and the just as they were about to lock up, she came out. So I don't know if there was a timing issue. It just seemed kind of awkward. She comes out ringside. She doesn't put a headset on. She's just there. And I'm thinking to myself, like why doesn't she like color commentate kind of like Carmella did a
yeah.
couple
I thought the
couple of
same
weeks
thing.
ago? But she doesn't say a peep. She's just like she's in the match. She's feeling it. She didn't seem like she was pushing or pulling for anyone. Nikki Cross takes and does this like a almost like a reverse DDT where the back
Oh,
of Asuka comes down, and they are on the hardest part of the ring on the apron on the outside of the rope.
Oh, is that the hardest part?
Look, hardest part, and they're on the outside of the ring, right in front of the announce table, and Nikki just drives Asuka into the ring apron. They cut to a commercial, and then I thought to myself, so we're an hour and some change into the into the show, about an hour and 30 minutes or so, and I realized, wow, this is like the fourth or fifth picture in picture, but I didn't have that big of an issue with it, even though AEW does it like the exact same way. I was like, oh man, I gotta, so on Wednesday when I watch, I'm gonna just not be as conscious of it and get all hoity-toity about it,
Right.
because it's just, I mean, that's how they pay bills. You gotta put some money in the coffer. So yeah, so they go through the match. Um, the the move set that Nikki was going with was sort of this violent. Um, she kind of came across like AEW, the old boy who comes down on the skateboard,
Yeah, Darby Allin.
that comes down like Darby Allin, where he's almost enjoying the pain and the agony and the misery, and Asuka is just nailing her with kicks, nailing her with kicks. Nikki gets in some moves, and fast forward, Asuka gets her into a submission, and Nikki finally submits. And anyone else would have submitted probably 30 seconds earlier, but they tried to keep Nikki, pretty strong, and Asuka gets the win.
Yep. So, what's the difference between Nikki and Liv right now? They're the exact same character. They're in there, love the pain. I mean, obviously they different attitudes, but I felt like this should have been Liv more. Now, not taking
Mm.
anything away from it, the match was great. This run of Asuka's is super impressive.
Yeah.
She has definitely pulled the talent up with her. Again, we talked about the match with Liv Morgan being one of the better matches I've seen. The match with Nikki was great. They didn't have all the silliness with the Elimination Chamber, people coming out like they did in the Liv Morgan match.
Yeah.
But it says something for the caliber of Liv and Nikki and that style they're playing to go up against Asuka. So I enjoyed the match a lot. My complaint is, so you said what, it was an hour and 30 something minutes when this match started?
Mhm.
I like wrestling in my wrestling shows. We had a 1 minute 20-second squash, and then the Sammy match, and this in an hour and 30 minutes. That's where I started getting frustrating. Like, I understand you got to do backstage stuff. I
Yeah.
understand we get vignettes. I just felt like there was a lot of it on this show.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's only one more match to go. So
Yeah.
four matches,
Yeah.
4 matches in a 3-hour show, and one match was only 1 minute and 20 seconds. That was the root cause of why I had issues with this show in general.
Yeah.
We'll finish going through it, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of my biggest things, because
Yeah. So
the action in the ring was good. I just wish there was more of it.
yeah, I think I was more, for some reason I was more into the promos, because it was telling a story, and I was thinking of my own personal WrestleMania card, how everything was going to play out, and the how they recapped what happened on Elimination Chamber, sort of timely enough. And Austin Theory, he was a thread throughout the show. You saw him
Yeah.
in the beginning, you saw him in the middle, you saw him in the end, and I was like, okay, I can kind of buy off on that. Seth Rollins, the piece of business Seth Rollins did, I thought was really good. So that match ends, and then Bianca and Asuka have a face off. They
I
cut
cannot
to,
wait for that match.
yeah, that's gonna be something for the ages. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So then they cut to commercial. Kathy Kelly is backstage again, and Carmella talks about, like, something about how she wanted a receipt or something and I was just like, okay, I'm kind of confused. It was good to see her back on TV, just knowing what she went through while she was gone, and it's good to see, what that she's back on the right track. And she had so she wants a receipt. So she challenges Asuka to a match next week, and Corey Graves just goes high into the right. I don't normally disagree with my wife, but I think she's a little bit crazy. So
Yeah,
hey,
that was good.
so I think next week's Monday Night Raw, I think it'll be a pretty good show. There'll be some preludes to what we may or may not see. I don't necessarily understand why you're going to see Charlotte and Rhea in a match when you're already going to see them at WrestleMania. If you're
Are they
going to
having
put
a
them on
match or
free
just a
TV,
face off?
no,
I
they're
thought they were
supposed to
just
have a
doing a.
match. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're booked to have a match, and you're just like, why are you going to do this on free TV? But hey, whatever. So MVP is on there. Hey, so fast forward, we cut to commercial, come back. MVP is on there, and he's like, Lesnar, you messed up. You're a chicken. You're scared, and my man almost challenges you to a match at WrestleMania. And
Oh
I'm
God,
like,
I hope not.
wow. And I was really, really confused because I thought the play all along was to have another match with Lesnar. Um, but hey,
Yeah.
whatever.
Again, I don't want to see that. Like I don't want to see
Yeah,
Lesnar. Yeah, no.
yeah.
Hopefully they blow it off early and they go somewhere else with Lesnar. Unless Lesnar wants to work him, that's not something I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Unless you want to see Lesnar throw a 400 pound dude around, put him through Suplex City, and I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
so they trying to have it. So they cut to a commercial. They go now. Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick are talking about the Rollins versus Miz. Miz is now in the ring, and you hear "Burn it down," and here comes Seth Rollins. Fans are singing along, "Oh, oh," and this goes on for like 4.5, 5 minutes, it seemed. And he is so over. Seth Rollins is
Yeah.
so over that I'm not as upset as I was on Saturday night about the end of Elimination Chamber, um, because Seth is still money. So that was good. So Seth and Miz, they lock up, and then next thing you know, Seth has hit the Miz with 3 stomps, and the referee finally just stops the match.
Yep.
And I've never seen a submission or a referee stop like that, and it was just a definitive. I am Seth freaking Rollins, and Logan Paul, you messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, good bit of business. Something I think it might be the first time I've seen WWE use that. The you've kicked his butt so much that he can't continue. Usually they like throw it out and it's a DQ. So I appreciated the fact that they let it go that way.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was a good piece of business, decent match. Again, like the matches they had on the show were good. Like they're even the squash match with Ziggler was good. So yeah,
Yeah,
good, decent bit of business.
yeah. Yeah, so that match is over. Then they officially announce Asuka and Carmella. You've seen the Alpha Academy backstage a couple of times, and then Bronson Reed comes walking out, and the the view of Bronson Reed being face to face with Otis, I was like, man, that would be fun.
I hope that's a WrestleMania match.
And I thought that's what they were going to go with, but instead, Gable goes out there and he takes the tsunami a little bit later on. So then that match is official. So they announced. So then they show the view of Carmella and Asuka is official. So now they've said it 3 times, so it's official, official, official. So
Yep, I think
then
that match is happening.
I think it may be happening. So then they go into the ding dong, and Asuka Bailey wants to be with her family, so so she's on the stage now with Damage Control, and she goes to sit down. Then she stands back up. I'm so excited. So, what is it like being the greatest tag team ever? I'm thinking to myself, greatest tag team champions ever. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. You and Sasha or
Right.
Monday were the were tag team champions, and all the other tag team champions before, sort of kind of odd. Well, then the man's music hits. Out comes Becky. Hey, I want if I can't um, go for my fifth or go for another world title, I would just soon go for those tag team titles. Bailey's like, well, you and who? You don't have any friends. Out comes Lita, and Bailey tries to sprinkle in some doubt, and they're like, "Hey, don't worry about us. We've already talked about it," and makes it official. They challenge Lita and Becky versus Damage Control for WrestleMania.
Yep. Where was Trish again? Like,
So yeah, there's been a couple of things that have popped up where she's canceled 3 different shows. So that's a good one.
mm,
I'll dig into that and see what the deal is. Why she hasn't been on TV, because that's the third showing that she
yep.
was like unofficially booked for, and she didn't show. So yeah, so that was interesting.
Yeah, and so is the Damage Control and Lita and Becky WrestleMania? They're going
Yeah,
to drag this out to WrestleMania. So there goes the whole Baszler and Ronda. So I thought they were going to pull this one off like next week or the week after. Give Becky and Lita the belts, and then you can roll into a Ronda Baszler versus Becky and Lita, which I think would be a good match for Mania. But yeah, if they're pushing Damage Control and those two to WrestleMania, that's a long time to go with this feud. And again, a match that it'll be all right, but not super excited about.
yeah, it's so I'm looking at a report here from wrestlinginc.com, backstage news. Trish was sent home. This evidently is the third time she's been sent home. Reports added Stratus, the native of Toronto, physically was at the show in Ottawa but left before the segment happened. Unsure what the changes were other than creative change by WWE officials.
Yeah,
She is
something weird's
slated
going on
to.
there.
What's that?
I said something weird's going on there.
Yeah.
It's 3 times they've sent her home. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So she is unofficially scheduled to appear um, on a future Monday Night Raw. So, um,
So not in her home country.
yeah, that's the other thing too, and they've got one more show in Canada. So hopefully they get it figured out, because she comes out, boom, this place is going to blow. I think it'd be almost as big, if not as big, as Sammy.
Yep.
Yeah. So so Gable and Bronson Reed have a match. They cut to a commercial. Bronson hits Gable with the tsunami. Finito, all done. And Lashley comes out, beats down Elias. Elias was talking about Hope Boogs is listening, because this is what we're doing. Almighty's like, hey, I'm not having this. Um, Elias gets thrown around like a rag doll, and he's tired of being disrespected, and no real closure for Lashley other than he got to throw Elias around a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, the Chad Gable Bronson Reed match was good. Neither one of them I think can do wrong. So put them in the ring together. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
The maximum male models wanting to go after Otis, I think is a fun little storyline. Obviously, it's not bloodline quality, but it's fun. And
yeah,
then the standoff between Otis and Bronson is something I'm like, all right, I'd like to see that. Lashley
that was
smashing Elias, cool. At least Boogs got mentioned, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
Yep.
get my boob shirt. Yeah, I wonder if it's available on Wrestling Tees or probably not. You can probably only get it on the WWE shop. So
WWE,
I'll
yeah.
go grab that. So, so there was a little bit of talk through commentary about Edge and what he's meant to the WWE. They cut to a commercial, come back, and there was a backstage piece, and Edge says, "Blah blah blah, never say never," and they head to the ring, and there's his usual pyro. They talk about him being a Hall of Famer. He's been there, done that, and um, out comes A Town Down, and the crowd went from happy to loud and just angry. And I thought that was a good sound for Theory, especially since he's trying to get over as a
Right.
bad guy. And a good exchange. And Austin Theory, his body is more and more starting to look like John Cena. And
Yeah.
he's wearing those like those boy cut shorts, like the real tight ones that Cena used to wear when he
Yeah, like the
first
ones I
came
wear
up.
to work.
Well, yeah, and before he switched to the jorts, and what was he like, the cyborg or something, when he was wearing those short shorts before he came out with ruthless aggression against Kurt Angle. So they go through, they have some good back and forth. Um, what I thought was interesting and a nice touch on the storytelling was the rear naked chokes and the headlocks and the chin locks, considering Edge's neck situation. I thought, wow, that's some nice storytelling, considering his finishing move is that driving him down
Yeah.
on the neck.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. My thing on that is I felt like it was a lot of rest moves in that match.
Hmm.
So for those that don't watch wrestling as much, which we found out a lot of people are on our podcast don't necessarily watch it as much as we do,
Mhm.
but I just felt that when they have a rest move, what they call them, is usually those rear naked chokes or arm bars where they kind of sit in the middle of the ring and catch a breather. You used to see it a lot with like Hogan towards the end of his career, and some of the older guys use it a lot. I just felt like there was a lot of those in this match, which surprised me. Whether Edge is hurt a little bit, or maybe time's catching up to him. I just thought it was interesting. But when they would go, they would go. There was that slam he pulled Austin off the ropes and like kind of slammed him on the ground. There were some really good high moves, but
Yeah.
that's the one thing I remember watching, and I'm like, man, they're doing a lot of resting in this match, which was interesting. And I don't know whether it's because they had to, maybe there's a time issue, so they had to drag out the match a little longer than
Mhm.
normal,
Hmm.
or what the case
Yeah, that's
is.
a
I just
good.
felt like they were,
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Considering maybe originally they had some pieces of matches that were supposed to go longer than a minute and
yeah,
some change, or
or maybe
because
the Trish thing was supposed to
yeah,
go on there somewhere, and
Hmm.
who knows? I just, it struck me as odd. That's
Yeah.
not it was bad. You're right. It fits into the story and it worked. I just thought it was kind of interesting to have that many kind of resting holds as they were going
Mhm.
through.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at it like, okay, he's grinding them down, even though he just went through the elimination chamber, and as Austin Theory was heading into the elimination chamber, they were talking about. So how does this feel? Considering last year you got thrown off of the pod by Brock
Yeah.
Lesnar, and now here you are as the United States champion coming in to the elimination chamber, and he makes it out of elimination chamber as the champ. Goes against the Hall of Famer, and Edge was pretty humble in his interview, considering everything he's accomplished in his career, and he was just like, hey, I'm a little closer to the end every day. Goes out, has a good showing, and then one thing that I didn't really think should, I mean, wrestling fans are going to do whatever the hell they want, but I don't necessarily agree with the fans starting to cheer. This is awesome.
Right.
That sort of like, I mean, I could have seen if it was, it was a banger and they were going and going and going, or, like the match that they had during Elimination Chamber, I thought was, one of my favorite matches, if not my favorite match, was, worthy of This Is Awesome. But, nonetheless, you know, winner and still your United States champion, Austin Theory.
Yep. Thanks to Finn Balor, which I think I called when we were somewhat previewing that it's not quite done yet. So, Balor comes in, does his attack, and then ends the show with the beatdown too. So, definitely got his heat at the end. I'm curious what happened after the show because you want to send the fans home happy. So, I'd be curious what some of those fan footages are going to look like in the next few days when we see them on Twitter and stuff. But
and the way
that was raw.
Yeah, and the way Edge had said, hey, it's good to have the Judgment Day behind him. He's over and done with it. But then, Finn costs him the United States title. Could, like what you had sort of fantasy booked, looks a little more real.
Yeah.
Is, Edge versus Finn in a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania.
Yeah. It's going to be good stuff. I think that'll be good. And he hit him with with 3 coup de grace. So, now you can write Edge off for a few episodes as injured or hurt or whatever you want to say. And then have him make another comeback, maybe to challenge for that Hell in the Cell. Yeah.
He'll make it official. Probably not this Friday. So it'll probably be in 2 Mondays from now. He'll pop up, and 2 weeks before WrestleMania, we'll have some good vignettes. Here's what happened,
right,
and then we'll get him in the cage and figure out what's going to happen. So but, I thought the crowd was really good. I enjoyed the backstage a lot more than I normally do. I didn't think Pierce was such a weasel, getting kind of muscled into everything. He was sort of letting the wrestlers do whatever they were going to do. Great energy with Sammy, started it, got his comeuppance, and got into the winners column against Corbin. You had no tag team matches. We didn't see Boogs, but we got to hear his name. The man who was born and bred to rip and shred. Lashley is looking for revenge, but then so is Almost. So, what's going to happen with that? A little confusing, a little bit fun, but of course, it's all good when Cody's on the screen. So that's worth a beard. And like you said, he paced. He was upset. He's like, Roman, don't send him again.
Yeah,
we haven't met face to face, which is a good point since Cody's been back. They've never been in the ring or on the same screen at the same time. So this is going to be fun to see. And this is what I think they should do with Charlotte and Rhea. They shouldn't touch until WrestleMania. Same thing with Asuka and Bianca. They shouldn't touch, even if they want to tease and do a tag team match. They shouldn't touch, and it just builds the excitement until they actually do, and somebody brings the pain.
Yeah, I agree. I was not as excited about this Raw as you, so
man,
I can give my rating first if you want, but
yeah, man. So what'd you think? So like we do here in the No Shave Man Cave, we don't give it donuts, we don't give it stars, we don't give it thumbs up, we give it beards. What, JT, J Tilly, what is your beard rating?
With 2.5 beards. Yeah, man. I watched it twice. We talked about it tonight, and all 3 of those occasions, I sat here and went, "I'm really bored." Like, I absolutely enjoyed the Sami Zayn thing. Fantastic. Absolutely enjoyed the Cody Paul Heyman thing. But that's it. There was nothing else on this card in the entire 3 hours that held my attention long enough. Yeah, I just felt like it was backstage after backstage after backstage.
Yeah.
Like you said, an hour and a half in, you get the Nikki Cross Asuka match, decent match. They beat the hell out of each other. They look strong. I appreciated that. The Miz Rollins, cool. It is what it is. I like the end of that, but nothing that I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, maybe it's just the mood I was in. I'm not sure, but like I said, I watched it live Monday night. Well, somewhat live. I watched it after we finished recording Monday night, and kind of it didn't grab my attention enough. I found myself looking at my phone. I found myself playing on the computer. Then again, I watched it today to try to kind of speed watch through it so we could talk about it. Thinking, oh, I missed something. I just wasn't feeling it yesterday. And same thing, I found myself, looking up. I wasn't enjoying the cigar out back while I was doing it, and I found myself like looking up the cigar and like what other cigars there were, and just and even talking you going through it just now. I'm just like, oh, we still got more of the show to go through. I just didn't feel it. So 2.5 for me.
Yeah, man, that sucks because you figure all in total, what you just talked about was like 7 hours of your time, and we still have what, 5 or 6 hours of wrestling to watch this week, and
I'll still watch it all.
Yeah, that's if you watch NXT. So I'm going to go downstairs and catch a little bit of NXT and see what's going on. I'm going to go dig through the Observer reports and other wrestling smack lines and see what's going on with Trish and some of the other threads and injuries and stuff. But all in total, I think I'm still kind of riding on that Elimination Chamber high, because as upset as I was on Saturday how the men's match ended, how happy I was how the women's match ended, I loved the Grit couple coming out on top and thinking, okay, that's behind them. You said, not so fast. And then, comes to fruition. All right, cool. Seeing my personal WrestleMania card get ripped up and now coming back together. I enjoyed the show. I loved the crowd. The crowd wasn't as alive as they were in Montreal, but they were still good. Not quite AEW good, but we'll see what this next crowd does in the next Providence in Canada. So for that reason, I'm giving it 3.5 beards, and I really, even though there wasn't a bunch of wrestling like we like, the vignettes, the promos, the threads, the connecting, and sort of fooling me again, kind of how I got played twice during Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
I kept enough of my fandom and suspended belief to get played. So yeah, so 3.5 beards for Monday Night Raw.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up, and stay tuned. On Thursday will be our Dynamite review. Before that, though, our next 2 episodes we're gonna drop after this one will be our special episode for the 22nd in honor of the 22nd fallen military vets that unfortunately take their lives. We've got a special kind of heavy episode with that. After that, we decided to do a lighter one with some wrestling talk with our special guests. So look for those tomorrow on the 22nd. After you listen to this one, go ahead and blitz into those, and then after that, we will do a Thursday drop, and you'll get our Dynamite review.
Heck yeah, man. Well, hey, thanks to JT for setting it up. Thanks for JC, the Georgia Tickler, for coming to us with some great support information and resources for our veterans out there. And again, if you're ever in need and you're looking for help, dial 988, and that is always an available resource for whatever state you're in North America. So please use that to the fullest. So with that, I am Ellie Jair.
And I'm Jay Tilley.
Thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday Night Raw review here in the No Shave Man Cave. Until then, be safe, look out for one another, and we'll see you on the floor.